asking the wrong person here, okay?
Danger zone.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the Firearms Insider Gun and Gear Review Podcast, episode 326. On this show, we showcase gun reviews, gear, and anything else a gun enthusiast may be looking for. We strive to evaluate products from an unbiased and honest perspective. And of course, I'm your host, Chad Wallace, and in this show, Zane might have a review of some Blackhawk holster or something. We talk about a Savage ultralite, some sort of jack, kind of looks like a car jack, I get it, and a new slide for Glock pistols. Of course, with me tonight are everybody usual, Rob, Tony, and Zane. So you guys can explain all this fun stuff of what you did in firearms or didn't do in firearms. Bueller?
Okay.
Yeah, don't everybody go at once.
Pick someone, Chad.
Rob.
All right, so Rob, go ahead, man.
Okay, I'll go. As y'all know, I took last week off. I was on vacation. I was in North Kakalaki visiting family, and we did all sorts of fun stuff. Did some farm maintenance, took care of some animals, went to the gun range, shot a bunch of guns. Found that I really like my 6.5 Creedmoor rifle, and 6.5 Creedmoor on a 4-inch gong at 200 yards is a nice and accurate rifle. And then what else did we do? Well, I fixed the car, did some other stuff. But yeah, shot a lot of guns, did some critter varmint hunting, and had a great time, you know?
Sounds like fun. Did you shoot any hogs?
The hogs hadn't made it to that part, but rest assured if they did, it'd be bring your night vision, get your butt up here. We got to get rid of these critters. Because hogs are destructive little buggers.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they are just destructive.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, now can we go to Tony now?
I can't show a firearm, so I'm showing the magazine that goes into the firearm that I put together over the weekend. It's a Glock mag, 9mm type. Mm-hmm.
As long as you pull the receiver off and don't show it, then it's not a firearm.
Yeah, right. So I finally put together wow, talk about vapor lock. Palmetto State Armory 9mm carbine, 16-inch barrel, and I built an Arrow M4 lower with it and installed the Mag X from Matador Arms that takes Glock mags. Wow. So that was pretty cool. I put that together, and I love taking pictures of the tools I use to put ARs together because let's just say none of it's in the Brownells catalog. My Crudo knife, another knife, pair of tweezers, and that was it. What else did we do? Oh, and I made a deal, and we'll talk about it later, but in case you guys bail out when I go into my 2A4E spiel, new rifle giveaway, High Point Armory, either a 9mm or 10mm carbine. You get to choose. The 10mm is going to be in Yeti, or a High Tower Armory MBS 95 chassis for a High Point of your choice, or a chassis for your 1022. So that's what's going to be given away to $20 and above, one $20 and above patron who joins this month at $20 or is already a member. Thank you. And I'm working on an optic company too, so you'll pretty much get everything you need out of the box.
Awesome. Zane?
A lot of dry fire. Obviously, I wrote a review, kind of, and I ordered a bunch of stuff. Some stuff from actually up in your neck of the woods. OT Defensive, maybe. You familiar with them, Chad?
No, where are they out of?
Oregon Trail is the name of the company, so I'm assuming Oregon.
You know, the Oregon Trail ran a long ways. It just ended in Oregon, okay?
Well, it's called
History
Oregon
lesson.
Trail Defensive, I guess. I don't know. They have this little nub mod for ALS holsters.
Yeah.
Supposedly. So I ordered one of those, and I ordered some clips. I got the guys over at Black Rhino Concealment making me a holster that's like it's dumb, but it had to be a specific, like, so yeah, I had to put their brain power to work on it because I'm like, I don't even know how to do this. Y'all figure it out. Let me know.
Because it's for his high point.
No, it's not.
But
I
you
get it.
got another high point?
No,
Yeah.
no.
Congratulations,
Zane did not get a
Zane.
high point,
What caliber did you get? Did you get the 380?
10 mil.
No, 22.
Nah, 22 short. I think
But
it's-
yeah, so I just bought
Reduced
a bunch of
recoil.
stuff. So
There you go. Yeah, they are in Oregon somewhere. I'm looking on their website. It doesn't say where. So
yeah, I got some and I got some DCC clips coming for all my holsters. So I'm gonna try
gotcha.
those out. We'll probably write reviews on everything, maybe.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Hey, yeah, I get you. Let's
Oh,
see. Go
And
ahead.
I'm doing
Tony.
a review on I'm doing a review on the High Point Carbine. I did it on the 2A4E podcast that I posted last week, and I'll be doing a written review. And I got a bunch of cool pictures that I've taken and had taken over the last since 2017 when I received it.
I see.
And unlike some gun reviewers, I think we have around 2,000 to 3,000 rounds. I don't know. We've been shooting it for freaking 3 years.
Yeah, it's been a while. So yes, and to tell you guys what I did, well, I didn't go to the range or anything fun like that, but yesterday I did get some Timber Creek stuff in for review. Their whole complete enforcer kit in purple. Hey, you know,
Nice.
it's really just to draw in the girls, like my family loves it, like Tony's daughter loves it. Essentially that's about all I did. I did kind of halfway wrote a review, but you know, it's not done, so I can't say I really did much with it. It was crappy weather and I didn't feel like doing anything, so that's the extent of what I did. Let's see here. I guess we can get into our announcements now, even though Tony already made announcements, but we have our own. Please go to thegunandgearcult.com and pledge your support for us. We would really appreciate it. There are $1, $5, $15, $25 levels. Will is still our $25 level patron, as we would like to say. We appreciate that from him, and he actually sent us a question for the Q&A, so he gets 2 entries instead of just one like everybody else. You can be a dollar member and you still get 2 entries if you send us Q&A stuff. Our bandwidth sponsor is Patriot Patch Co., of course. Go check out the Patch of the Month Club. If you're shopping Amazon, of course, there's the firearmsradio.tv/Amazon affiliate link. If you're shopping Matador Arms and want to buy one of those Mag X's like Tony is giving away, something like that.
Whoa,
You can...
hold on. No, I'm not.
Oh, that
Yeah,
was
he's
just
trying to slip one by on
yours.
you.
Well, no, it's not. Well, it's diversity shoes, but yeah, sure, it's mine.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, if you want something like that to convert it to your standard AR to pistol caliber mags, they make a bunch of them. Please use our affiliate link. It's in the show notes on the website. You get it. There's also an Amend 2 affiliate link on there. Next up, listener Q&A episode coming, probably release on the 3rd of July. We're getting questions in. Submit your questions. We'll go through them. Anybody who submits a question gets entered into the drawing. Cult members get extra entry. Matador Arms has given us a $50 gift certificate and some swag. Odin Works has shot us some t-shirts. Combat Flip-Flops has sent us some flip-flops and shamogs. I don't know, there's 5 or 6 pairs of flip-flops in there, so if we don't have your size and that's what you want, well, you're out of luck. And Faxon stepped up and sent us a couple 9mm barrel bolt combos. So that's what you get if you send us a question, or might get. Who knows?
Oh, shamogs. Weren't they called balaclavas?
Yeah, whatever they're called.
Oh, no. The reason I'm saying is because one of the guys who was supposed to be a tactical know-it-all used to call it baklava.
But a baklava is like a face.
A flaky pastry.
No, it's a Greek dessert.
It's a Greek dessert, dude.
Hey.
He would try to sound all tactical and call him baklava.
If you
Isn't
put
a
that on your
balaclava,
face,
though,
yeah,
the one piece one, whereas
yeah,
the
balaclava
shamag
is like a full, kind of like a hoodie with cutouts or something. I don't know.
Uh,
But actually, I looked at them. They're really nice. So if you're into that stuff,
who are they from? Where
combat
are they
flip
from?
flops.
Oh, okay, cool.
But they also sent us flip flops. They're behind me. Got flip flops. See?
Anytime they want to have adult sizes.
Yeah. So let's see. That covers our announcements. And since Rob's here, we don't have to try to fumble through the disclaimer today.
Oh, you guys do it as bad as I do it.
Yeah, I was pretty bad at it.
Well, aren't you going to go through the announcements? Oh, well, you just did the announcements. I'm sorry.
Wow, starting off with a bang.
So
Welcome
much for
to the
giving him a week off.
Sorry, I got a text from a friend. I told Chad before the thing started, my grandmother passed away last week, and I'm getting some texts and stuff from family and friends that I had to answer. Okay, the views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual co-hosts and do not reflect the official policy or position of the Firearms Radio Network and or their employers. This is not legal advice, nor should it be considered as such. Viewer discretion is advised. This is especially true on live shows. And God only knows what Zane's going to talk about when he goes on this product review, which I don't even know what he's reviewing. Some kind of crazy holster of some sort. Thank you, Tony.
It's a Blackhawk holster, isn't it?
It's a Blackhawk holster.
Ooh,
which version?
Blackhawk, that means quality.
Right. Yeah.
It's the
Sure.
Omna what?
It's the Omnivore. It's the Blackhawk Omnivore. So most of the listeners probably know I'm no fan of Blackhawk holsters. I think the Surf is one of the worst holsters ever made. But when I saw this Omnivore, I was like, well, that's interesting. So I decided I'm going to put my Blackhawk bias aside and we're going to look at it because it doesn't require the use of the trigger finger to release the pistol from the holster. So I'm like, oh, look at that. It's a better design. So I get it in. It's quite a bit cheaper, right? It's I think it's like $50, $60. I don't know. It's down there somewhere. And Safariland holsters are like 90 days out right now. So I'm like, okay, let's try this. So I get it in. They claim it'll fit over 200 pistols as long as you have your light attached. So there's three different models. There's a TRL1/TRL2, X300, and it only fits, the X300 one only fits either U or A models. I can't remember which one. And then they make one for no light, but you still have to attach something to the light rail to use it. So I'm not sure what the purpose of that is. Like, just use the light at that point, but neither here nor there. So I get it open. There's a bunch of little plastic pieces that come with it. Kind of reminds me of like opening Alien Gear holster. It's just little pieces and things and stuff to add. So I wasn't too impressed with it, my initial impressions. But that would slowly change a little bit until it didn't anymore. So right out of the gate, it uses the paddle or the belt slide that the concealment Serpas use. That's not cool, I don't think, because those are really flimsy. I don't know if you've ever seen the videos where those get breaking off belts and separating from holster bodies, but they're quite flimsy. I don't trust them. It's one of the biggest problems with the concealment Serpas, in my opinion, and it uses the same ones. But I had a box of bad ideas way deep in my shed that has a bunch of Blackhawk stuff in it because I used to, didn't hate them. So I found one of their 2-inch drop duty things. It's similar to like a UBL from Safariland, but you can't mount it to this holster because they don't use the same thread pitch. Safari or Blackhawk's duty stuff uses a different thread pitch than their concealment stuff, even though this holster is marketed as a duty holster from everyone except for actual Blackhawk. To be fair, they don't say anywhere on the website that it's duty, but it's an outside the waistband holster with level 2 active retention. So, and you're not concealing this thing. It's huge. You're not concealing it. So that's kind of a bummer. I wish it would use the same thread pitch as their more durable like drops. And then so if I found a video by what's his name, Chuck Pressburg, where he was talking about it, and he came to the same conclusion I did, except for, Chuck Smash, he actually tried to force it to work and stripped all the screws out. Leave it to the Delta guys to break everything. So I was like, I'm not gonna do that.
That's pretty sad that a Marine says that.
I'm like, well, if Delta breaks it, I'm pretty sure I could break it, but we'll just, So I didn't want to go to the hardware store and try to figure out what the proper thread pitch was. So I just took a Safariland QLS plate and my Dremel and made it work with that. And even though, by removing material from the QLS, I'm sure I compromised the structural integrity of it, it still feels way more secure than the attachment Blackhawk sent with it. Okay, so now the holster I'm able to wear it, able to put it on. There's this little piece you're supposed to insert if you're using it with a TRL1 as opposed to a TRL2. So I put it in, and it came out on the second draw. So I put it back in, and about 5 draws later, it went flying across the room again. So I don't know. Maybe I put it in wrong. I did put it in a third and a fourth time, and it actually has been in there now for about 200 draws. So maybe it was operator error. I don't know, but all I know is it hasn't gone flying again. But the first 3 times it went flying across the room. I didn't even use it for the longest time, but I am reusing it now. It does. Then the holster holds the gun pretty securely. It has a thumb drive to release the holster or release the gun from the holster. So that's cool. It's very similar to Safariland's, except you just press straight down instead of pulling back. It's pretty intuitive. I actually like it quite a bit. I didn't find any issues with the gun hanging up in the holster. It's real natural. You do have to install these taller pads on the button. I guess you don't have to, but I don't see why you wouldn't, because the thumb drive is real low. But they have 3 different options that you can, install onto the actual pad. I just put the tallest one on there because it was the most intuitive. So did that. Didn't use any of the other plastic pieces. I don't even know how to use them. They just look real flimsy, and they didn't need. The only thing I found with those is just made the gun harder to reholster. So I just didn't use any of the rest of that crap. All right, so holds the gun securely. I never had a problem with the gun coming out. I'm like, oh, you know what? This is actually not a bad holster. Until I drew the gun about probably 500 draw strokes in, and the light stayed in the holster, and the gun came out. Something inside the holster is interacting with the thumb screw on the light and backing it off ever so slightly. That's a problem because it retains on the light. So had I tripped and fallen or something, the gun would have gone flying because there was nothing retaining the gun in the holster at that point. So I tightened the screw back down, added a witness mark, and kept an eye on it. And sure enough, every 50, 75 draws, you can see that the screw backing out a little bit. You got to tighten it back down. I don't know why that is. I also found a review on Amazon where a cop had the same problem, and he lost his gun during a foot pursuit because of this problem. So that's something to be aware of. I don't know if it's an issue, because if you PMCS your stuff and check your gear every day, you should be checking that screw. But I shouldn't say I don't know if it's an issue. That's an issue, but I don't know how big of an issue is. I guess that's personal opinion. For me, not a huge deal because I check my stuff every day. It is cut optic ready, which was one of the main reasons I got it, right? You can use optic, pistols with red dots on them. Whereas if you want a Safariland, you have to wait a long time and it has to be a very specific model. This is pre-cut for it, and it works great, works fine. Didn't have any problems with that. Then a buddy of mine who knew I was reviewing it, who works for a very large law enforcement agency down here in Florida, sent me a text message and was like, hey, by the way, our agency is not allowed to use this because of the huge hole at the bottom to accommodate the light. It's very easy to get your finger in there and press the trigger. And he's absolutely correct. You can actually, while establishing a master grip on the gun, while the gun's holstered, get your finger on the trigger, which pretty much was the end of the review process for me. Because at that point, it defeats the purpose. Like, if I can shoot the gun in the holster isn't doing its job. So the review is pretty long. It's not up on the website yet. It'll be up by the time this airs, though. Should be. That's the down and dirty. 8 key points. Claim to fame. It's near universal retention holster. That's red dot compatible. Target market is anybody needing a retention holster for use with a red dot and a light, or if you have a variety of guns and you want just one holster. Features and benefits: thumb drive retention, red dot compatible, indexes on the light. There are 3 different options available, like I talked about: no light, X300, or TRL series. There are 2 other reviews in here. One of them I put a 5-star review, and I put a 1-star review, just to be fair. So you can go read those if you choose. Ratings: pros, near universal, thumb drive retention. It's no lead time. It's ready to ship right now. Safariland, looking at you. Cons: the mounting platform, the trigger guard opening, and it unscrews the light. So I gave it an overall score of 5, which is okay.
No, I think it's mediocre.
Which is mediocre. Yeah. So, and the reason, and I also added a caveat that if you want to use this for duty or serious use, I gave it a 3, which is poor. Is that what 3 is?
I think so.
It's been a while since we had a 3. So I can see niche roles for this, right? Like if you're a competition shooter and you have a weird gun, right? You run a CZ Shadow with an X300 and a Delta Point Pro. Safariland ain't making a light for you, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
A holster, yeah.
I mean, I ain't making a holster for you. So, okay, there's an option there. If you're an instructor and you might be teaching, with this agency that uses P226s, and then next week you got to go teach with a Glock 17. Okay, I can see it, but I just can't see unless you just have to have this. That opening for the trigger is just really that's it. I mean, all the other stuff is minor enough. Like, great job, Blackhawk. You made another holster that facilitates negligent discharges.
I just love it. Congratulations, you made a holster that, 1, you can pull the trigger with the gun in the holster, and 2, disassembles the gun.
Yeah,
right. So it can fall out of the holster.
It took the light off and in the instructions they even say not to tighten the screw all the way, to back it off so that it's lined up so it'll index better. And that's what I did at first, and it kept my light. So then I tightened it all the way down, and it hasn't kept my light since, but it has. I've certainly looked and been like, oh, my witness mark doesn't line up, and have to crank it back down. So I don't hate it. It's better than it's better than a Serpa, but it ain't a Safariland.
That's a pretty low bar.
It is a low bar. Yeah. You're right.
Now understand, and we're talking to the most tactically thrifty dude out there.
AKA
good enough ain't good enough if it allows you to pull the trigger on the gun while the gun is in the holster. That's a non-starter. It should be a non-starter for you if you're carrying any firearm.
Yeah. Now, and to be fair, on some of the Safariland light-bearing models, you can get a finger in there and press the trigger, but not while establishing a grip on the gun. There is a couple cases of like little kids and school resource officers, which they
and a chief of police.
Yeah, which they have fixed with their newer model, because I actually do have a brand new Safariland 6390 RDS, and it actually, you can't get a finger in there on that one. But this one, while you're trying to grip the gun on the Omnivore, you can get your index finger onto the trigger.
Right, because you extend your finger out and you can shove it right in there.
That is a huge problem. And I'm going to have, and there's in the review, there's going to be pictures of that. We can't really show guns on live streams anymore, so there's really no point. But all the pictures will be in the review. And that's my biggest issue. Like, all the other stuff is minor-ish. Like I said, maybe that little piece kept flying. Maybe that was operator error, because it hasn't done it again. But the first 3 times, it just kept and I installed it the same way every time. But I don't know. But that I would like to see that, and the mounting platform. That's another big one for me, because those paddles and those belt slides are just not sturdy. I've seen guns ripped off of belts, easy peasy, with those attachments. It's not hard to do. I wish they would update the the thread pitch so that it would take their duty stuff, and I wish they would maybe make it less compact. Maybe it only fit 150 guns, but make that hole at the bottom for the light smaller. You know.
And
Yep.
yeah,
I mean, hey, dude, there are things that a holster should be able to do, and a holster shouldn't do, and it kind of nails a lot of them. And again, sometimes good enough ain't good enough, and either you have to go with another product, or just wait. How long did you say their wait period is?
Safari was like, they said 90 days, but it ended up being only about, I think, 30. But yeah.
I mean, and then there are other holster companies out there that handle that. And it's like, look, Blackhawk has messed up their own reputation over the years.
but who owns them?
Freedom Group.
Freedom Group now.
Exactly. That's what. That's all.
And yep, you're right. I'd forgotten that, actually.
Yeah.
I had not. That's why I was just waiting. I'm like, oh, I'll just maybe somebody will bring it up. No, I will.
Yeah.
Well,
and,
yeah.
And again, like there's some haters out there like, oh, he just hates Blackhawk. First of all, Blackhawk clothing is my favorite. I love their shirts, love their pants. And secondly, I promise you, I put my personal bias aside for this, and I really thought I was going to like it at first until it didn't. So, you know.
Oh, I got you.
Swing a miss.
Yeah. Thanks for that review, though. I mean, you know, people need to know the pros and cons of it, so that's what we're here for. I guess we can get in.
Though. And this is, well, I want to
ahead.
say something now. This is one of the reasons people say, well, why don't gun people give negative reviews? Because the amount of time you put in the product, you don't want to go, yeah, it was crappy.
Yeah, and that's a good.
How many jaw strokes do you have running that? And all
probably 4,000 or 5,000 at this point over the course of like 2 weeks. Because again, still doing dry fire with this gun every day to learn to pick up the dot. So, and like you say, not only the other reason we don't do a lot of bad reviews is most of the stuff I review, I spend my own money on. And if I have any inkling of a suspicion I'm not going to like something, I'm not spending money on it.
Well,
you know what I mean?
And the other thing is like, we get free stuff, but I think a lot of the companies know that they're like, yeah, we're not going to send this out if it's crappy. So most of it's, you know, somewhat decent. Well, I mean,
apparently they never sent us Smart 51.
Well, and I've turned down stuff from there was a holster company that reached out to me. I was like, hey, we want to see this holster. I'm like, listen, I can tell by your pictures, I'm not going to like it. But if you're so convinced, you can change my mind. Go ahead and send it. But my review's going to be what it is. I never heard from him again. You know, so, you know.
And the people that got R51s were flown down to special little get-togethers. A lot of the people that were
we've never been flown down.
And praised them.
We've never been flown anywhere to do a review.
Nope.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we thank you for that review of the Omnivore. So now we can get into the non-review section. The product spotlight and discussion. First up, I put in the Savage has a new, I put in quotation marks, 110 ultralight. MSRP is $1,499. Yeah, I thought that was a little steep for a Savage, but hey.
Hold on.
Hold on.
Okay,
it's still a little steep for a Savage. But I will go through this. It does have a blueprinted action. It's a stainless receiver, melanite finished. It has a stock with adjustable comb height and length of pull, but it is a polymer stock. But it's got a proof research carbon fiber stainless cut rifled barrel. I think all of the options are 5/8 24 threaded. It does have their adjustable AccuTrigger at 1.5 to 4 pounds. a detachable box magazine, a spiral fluted bolt. It is drilled and tapped for, the stuff you drill and tap for it. Let's see. You can get it in either 308, 270, 28 Nosler, 280 Ackley improved, 30-06, 300 WSM, 6.5 Creedmoor, or 6.5 PRC. So it does come in, some standard and new standard calibers. Looks like most of them have a 22-inch barrel. And let's see, they have, I think, 4 rounds in the magazine. Nothing too strenuous. Length of pulse 13.75 inches. Let's see here. Overall length is around 42.5. Twist rate depends on which version you get. The 308 is 1 in 10. Zane's getting called to go do something. The 6.5 Creedmoor
That
is 1
wasn't
in
me.
8.
I'm muted.
Oh, okay. I can't tell because I want full screen to read this stuff because Savage can't seem to get their website straight. So when you minimize it, it only shows half and doesn't give you a bar. So I'm picking on their website. Let's see. I think that pretty much covers about everything it is. AccuFit stock, AccuFit trigger. I like the 110s. I'm not sure if I would like this stock for hunting. I could see it because here's the weight. 5.8 pounds on just about all of them. 6 pounds on a 300 Winchester short mag. But either way, you get a 6-pound rifle. I could see for hunting, but other than that, I don't know if I would like their stocks. I mean, every Savage composite stock I've ever used or seen is not up to my standard. And for $1,500, I would hope it was. Okay, that's about all I have to say about it. So somebody else can chime in.
Yeah, I had a Savage 110.
I understand.
But it was like the $300 Savage 110. So I didn't expect a lot from the stock. I would expect a lot more from this one.
Right, but the thing is the $300 one, it was probably close to the same action.
Yeah.
It's not
Here's the
blueprinted.
thing.
No.
Here's the thing. This is blueprinted. This has a proof research barrel that has fiber carbon, yada yada.
Right.
And the base gun is 6 pounds or 5 pounds?
It's 5.8 to 6, depending on which version you get.
Now, that's wonderful. That's great. It's got the trigger, axis trigger, right? That's what they call it.
Accu trigger
On that. But then when you roll through and you go, all right, at 6.4 pounds, I can pick up a Ruger in the same calibers for $600.
Well, exactly. And the thing is Savage has rifles in this caliber that weigh about the same. It's like, okay, you get consistent accuracy probably out of the carbon fiber wrapped barrel because of the heat dispersion, stuff like that. But when you're looking at it, it's like it's not super light.
And are we really talking about heat dispersion with a hunting rifle?
Exactly. That's why I'm like, wait a second.
Well, I mean, that bolt action, you can really cycle that bolt action,
Yeah.
Exactly. Action.
Yeah, and it holds 4 rounds.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's Jersey compliant.
Oh.
for now.
Yeah.
Well, but yeah, my thing is this: Savage sells really. I mean, they have that price tag, right, for their some Savage 110s. Because I was looking at other things because I wanted to hear how they shot. Savages are really, really accurate. And I see things they bring to the table, right? Yeah. I mean, I have one. I got a 30-06. I have an Axis in 30-06. They're accurate, but dude, when you get to go, okay, what's the difference between this and this? I'd have to see it. What's the difference between the $600 and something Ruger and the $1,400 Savage? when it really comes down to field use.
Okay, Tony. Now I'm on their Savage's website. You're gonna love me. Barrel length is a little bit shorter on these because most of the ultralight have 22 to or a 24-inch barrel. Well,
Mm-hmm.
Savage has a 110 lightweight Storm on their website.
Mm-hmm.
MSRP is $759. Almost
Okay.
the same calibers, minus it's got 308, 243, 270, 6.5 Creedmoor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
5.6 pounds.
Oh, wow. So yeah, I mean, even competing against themselves, it's half the price.
Exactly. I mean, it doesn't have the fancy. It's not blueprinted. It does have an adjustable length of pull stock.
Probably not nitrate coated.
No, it's just stainless.
I can see a good hunting application for this for like sheep hunting, like in the
Mhm.
mountains.
Yeah,
Where you
yeah.
want as light as possible, but you still might
Yes.
have to take a 600-700 yard shot.
Right.
So I can see like that would be a good application for something like this, where you need all the performance you can get. But yeah,
Yes.
I'm with you guys. If you're a 300-yard deer hunter, I would probably go with something a little cheaper.
Yeah, and that's how I am. Now, I guess if you were to like buy these parts and put them together, I could see where, price-wise it's probably okay. And your sheep hunting thing, that's a very good, visual of what somebody might use this for, because yeah, you would want the stability of the barrel. You want, this kind of stuff, and you're packing it around where
And also this, good enough is good enough if you're hunting mule deer or something that you can hunt
at
a
200
lot more.
yards.
Well, no, but a
Yeah.
lot more. But when you have to pull a sheep tag, that could happen once every decade. So yeah, spending the extra money on top of the line stuff,
Oh yeah,
you
like
don't want to miss that opportunity. So yeah,
like
I mean,
in Oregon, I think they issue two like Rocky Mountain sheep tags a year. Literally two.
yeah. So
And-
you
You
don't
never
want
else
to.
poach the rest of them.
Well,
Well,
there
no, you
aren't
don't-
there aren't very many, but the thing is one of them is always given to like the Hunters Association to raffle off. It's
Nice.
kind of a given. So technically there's only one. And it's like it literally takes you, if you were to put in for it, it would take you 30 years to get.
So yeah, you don't want to cheapen out, I guess. And I guess if you want a top of the line thing, I mean, truthfully, if you're talking about over the lifetime of a rifle, if it's something you're going to buy and hunt with for the next 30 years, what difference does double the price make initially?
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you shoot this rifle before you buy one and are like fall in love with it and know you're going to keep it for 30 years and use it every year, yeah, go for it. That's a great, I mean, even then it's still a good price for, compared to a $2,500 rifle you might buy. So, yeah, I think we lost Zane again. So he probably had to close Windows.
Yeah,
What,
and the thing
Rob?
too is you're looking at that 110. I'm looking at the 110 Hunter and 308 Winchester. That's
Mhm.
760, and it's only 7.25 pounds.
Well, they make another one that's like an ultralight with an lightweight. It's lightweight or something that was 5.7 pounds or something. I can't remember. I just looked, and it was $760 or something. So, it's kind of each their own. But Savage does. They are good for. Yeah, they're known for good shooting inexpensive rifles. But they have tons of SKUs. When you look at their stuff, it's like, you make
it's
this,
like Ruger.
and they only do it for like a year or two, and then you go back to look for it, and you're like, oh, I guess they don't make that version anymore.
Yeah.
So,
and it has a threaded barrel too. So I mean,
yeah,
you're hooked. You're hooked up with this particular Savage, with everything you'll probably ever need. And the only thing that would be different that you would upgrade again over a really long lifetime of a gun would be the optic.
right. And you can, if you don't like the AccuTrigger, there are companies. I think Elf Tactical or something makes a trigger for it, a single stage.
And I know
style.
Timony has to. Timony
Right.
makes a
So
trigger for everything.
you can buy a trigger if you don't particularly like their trigger. I mean, I don't really. They're a good trigger. I just don't like the little flapper deal in it. So that's personal preference. So that was the Savage 110 Ultralight. Now we're going to get into something that I thought was pretty cool. Probably make a lot of people's lives easier, especially for the $44 price tag. It is Fix-It Sticks came out with a scope jack. I saw this and I was like, I could have used one of these so many times. Basically, it's this little thing that clamps to your rail. So you need like a full rail between the scope rings, or so if you got split, things like on certain Savage rifles, you need a full one-piece rail basically under the scope rings. You mount this on it, and then you adjust it up, and it hits the bottom flat of your scope, and it levels it to your rifle, and that's it. And then you tighten all your stuff down, and away you go. You take it off, you use it again. That's really all there is to it. I mean, it's so ingenious. I'm like, wait a second, this is like super easy. You don't have to have your rifle level. You don't have to do anything. You could do it upside down or sideways and it would still work. I don't know. I might have to buy one. Unless they want to send me one, which I don't know why they would. But yeah. You guys? Nobody uses enough
It looks
scopes
cool.
to matter?
Oh, well, yeah,
Well,
I use
actually-
the Wheeler system.
Oh,
The-
okay.
Actually, I
bubble levels
just
from
pulled
Wheeler?
out my scope that I picked up. Hello?
Yeah, you're here, Tony.
Yeah, we hear you.
Oh, I didn't know whether you could or not. Oh, yeah, I just pulled out my scope and I was looking because the only way you can use this is if it has a flat surface on the bottom of your scope.
Correct.
So I'm looking and I'm trying to figure out whether this Nikon has a flat enough surface or not that I'm going to mount and start using it for accuracy testing.
Does
I
it
have a
have a
3x9.
flat surface?
It's kind of flattened, but it's rounded as it comes around the side. But it looks like it's flattened on the bottom. So because
That's
again,
probably
a lot of
good
people.
enough.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, dude, $44. Put the scope rings on, stick this thing under, lock it in place, and just crank it up, and it will even itself out. You
Yeah,
can't beat that with a stick.
I know. I'm like,
It's just to level the scope from side to side, yeah. The only thing is, if
Mhm.
you're running really, really short rings, there might not be enough gap to get the scope leveler underneath there.
correct. And it does
Yeah.
say that, but you got to figure if you're running, I could see it like on his 3-9 if it's not, but most of the scopes probably need enough objective size and stuff that it's going to fit under
Oh
it.
no,
Most
there are
likely.
some scopes that have a little half moon on the bottom, so you get them things like maybe an eighth of an inch to a quarter of an inch away from the barrel. I mean, right
Yeah.
on the barrel.
Yeah.
I mean, I use the Wheeler system right now because I didn't know about this. It looks pretty cool.
Well, this just
yeah,
came out, so
yeah, I'll take one if they want to send one to me. But this will work for ARs for rifles if you put a like I got oh god, what's that?
Ruger Precision.
No, the Ruger Precision's got a 20 MOA rail on it. I've got the Montana rifle, which is I believe a Remington 700 base mount,
Yeah,
scope mount on it.
Action
But on my
style,
rifles
yeah.
now, I've been putting the rails instead of the single scope mounts, the single rings.
Right,
I put a
right.
rail
And-
across that spans the ejection port. That way I can
Yeah.
put regular rings on the top of it.
Right, and then this is, and also this, that would make this work if there's enough room, like you said.
But yeah, if you've got two separate rings, this won't work. But I mean,
Yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. I was like, oh, yeah, and for the price, I mean, $44 is MSRP, so you
Yeah.
know, who knows what they'll sell for? Probably $40 everywhere would be my guess. But I was like, this is cool. People probably want to know about this. I liked it. Zane doesn't. He's still young and can see stuff, so he doesn't need a scope. Tony and I are the ones
Oh,
that
yeah.
are ancient.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at it going. I actually need, because is it not that? Oh well, just put it on your rifle and run it. No, I'm going to be using it to test accuracy on pretty much a bunch of rifles.
Well,
So-
yeah.
It's just a time saver.
Well, and especially for like us who we're like, okay, I need to check the accuracy of this for this review. So you want to put a big scope on something, even if it looks funny, and you still want it level and everything. So for somebody that changes scopes a lot or takes a scope and puts it on a bunch of rifles, this could come in really handy. So I completely understand. So that was the Fix It Stick Scope Jack. Go get one. They look pretty cool. Tell us how it works. And up next is something a little odd from who it's coming from, but and Rob specifically asked me, why do you keep putting this stuff in the show notes? And I'm like, because it's that time of year when nobody's bringing stuff out. Well, Swamp Fox
I
brought
thought it was
out...
because the higher up said we have to start pushing Swamp Fox stuff.
No, they never said that at all. They said they haven't said absolutely anything, but they are the few people that are coming out with new releases of products, because right now it's kind of hard to find certain products to talk about. Well, Swamp Fox came out with their slides for Glock 17 and 19s. They call them the Wolverine, so you can guess. They do not come with a guy with an AK on the side of them. Don't ask me why. I would have put one on there. Probably copyright stuff. MSRP is $349. They come. Looks like you can get them with their cut for RMR, basically cuts. 17 or 19. You can get them with or without an optic. And when I say with an optic, because it's Swamp Fox, you can either get them with their Liberty or Justice optic, which raises the price up to, I don't know, it adds like $250. Basically, yeah, $600 or $589, depending on which is which. But I'll go over these slides. They are Cerakoted, but they have kind of like if anybody knows what expanded metal looks like, that's kind of what the serrations on the slides look like. They look pretty grippy. I haven't ever felt one. The sights are mounted in front of the optic. If you opt for the sights, I think there's an option in here. They put so much information on their website. I try to look for stuff and then I forget about it and forget where it is on their website. But they do come with sights if you order them. They're, I think, tall sights, or they might be the extra tall sights. I think, let me get down here let me go over some more things. They're Glock Gen 1 through 3, 416 stainless. They're a fiber optic suppressor height sight, so they're not like the extra tall, but they still are pretty tall. They do come with the channel liner. If you know anything about Glock things, I don't know why. It just makes life easier. Probably because if you ever put one together, then you can never get the channel liner out. They look okay. I mean, they're another slide on the market. I think the big advantage is they are an RMR cut, and you can opt for them with their particular optics on them. I reserve their optics for another show. I would probably order one without. If I were to order this slide, I would order it without an optic. That's just me, but to each their own. It's another slide on the market for everybody. Kind of different to see them when they're an optics company bring something like this out. So, anybody else? Zane, I know you're running sights in front of the optic.
Yeah, I do the sights in front thing because I like it better. I don't know. I don't understand, I guess, why they have a slide. I mean, they're not actually making it, right? It's being made for them by another company. Correct.
I'm pretty sure that's what they said, but it doesn't say on their website. But yeah.
And then this is because they offer pistol optics, which they have RMR cuts on their optics, right? So I guess
Correct.
I just don't understand the whole thing. I mean, cool. it's an option that you can. That way you can do iron forward, iron rear, however you want to do it, and maybe hopefully their new pistol optics are better than the original one. But
I would hope so too. They do have shake awake options on them, so they turn off and then come awake. I don't know if
Yeah.
they have a full wake option on them, but they are an upgrade from the last one.
I guess the slide thing is just kind of weird for me. It's just like, all right, you're an optics company. What are you doing? But I mean, whatever. If it's quality, it's quality. It's quality. Yeah, I mean, I get it.
And I also like the fact that it works with Gen 1 through 3 Glock 17 and 19s because, as most people know, I have a Glock Gen 2 Glock 19. There is nothing out there for Gen 2 Glock 19s.
These are polymer 80 compliant too, or not compliant,
Yes.
compatible, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. Because basically anything that runs a Glock 17 or 19 slide, Gen 1 through 3, it'll work with. So it'll work with the Poly 80s, an actual Glock frame. It'll work with the Timberwolf frames. There's all the other ones that are coming out recently. You know, they'll all work with those. And Tony,
Yep.
for your information, I have tried a Gen 3 slide on a Gen 2 19, and it worked fine.
Hey, I'm just going by everything we've ever looked at. Nothing is compatible according to the websites with a Gen 2.
Yeah.
The only thing compatible is that recovery tactical pick rail.
True. That is true. So right now they're pre-order. I guess they're shipping June 5th. So by the time the podcast comes out, they should be released.
Hey, Chad, their website says they partner with Steel City Arsenal.
Oh, good. Like I said, I read this Saturday, Friday when I put it in the show notes. And then I was reading through this stuff. Oh, yeah. And then I get here and I'm like, I don't remember anything I read. Thanks, Rob. You're good at reading because, I'm almost like Zane. I can't read.
I can kind of educate my read myself, but
Okay. Yeah.
Another company making their claim is basically this is a 1 through 3 Glock. So like Tony says, if you've got an older Glock, hey, you can customize it.
Maybe they'll send Tony one to try out on his Gen 2.
Ooh.
Hey,
Yeah.
Tony's not afraid to beg.
Oh, not at all. Hey, send it. Send it with one of your optics too, so we can run it and I can introduce people to that at the shoots. And also I can run it and talk about it.
There you go. And they might just do that for you.
What pattern are their optics? Are they
They're Armor.
with the mounting
Armor.
points? Oh, for the Tridges? Okay.
What was that,
So
Rob?
They use the correct one.
Tridges?
Yes.
Yes, and they're new. They have a like micro optic now that uses the RMSC one, which is kind of the standard for those. So, yeah, they were smart in doing that, in my opinion. So that was.
So you save $10 if you want to buy one of their
optics.
Because their Liberty is $250. This thing is $349 just for the slide, and then $589 with the Liberty. So
exactly, you got it. I
so
mean,
you save like $10.
Yeah, whatever. So
bundle that sucker up and send it to Jersey.
Yep, exactly. Well, that was the Swamp Fox Wolverine slides. Listener feedback. I just threw all the stuff that says, "Hey, love the show. Here's a question for you in the question folder." So, Tony, you can talk about what you're giving away and what you're not giving away.
You suck. That was funny. So, of course, people know about my relationship with High Point. So High Point said, "Hey, we can do 1 or 2 giveaways. How's this? Let the people pick what they want. Not black 9mm High Point carbine or a 10mm High Point carbine in Cryptek, Yeti Cryptek. So that's what we're going to be giving away. If you join the Second is for Everyone podcast Patreon page, That's going to be one of the giveaways. And also High Tower Armory that makes the chassis system for High Points. They make the Bullpup chassis system for High Points, and they make a what is that?
I have
A
no idea.
a P90 type chassis for a Ruger 1022. They said, "Hey, we'll toss one of those in. They can pick which chassis they want." And I'm like, "Awesome!" So join the Second is for Everyone podcast Patreon page at $20 and above, and one of you guys will win that. I will announce pretty much before the end of this week who won the Boogaloo giveaway Freedom Rifle from Palmetto State Armory with the Boogaloo lower from Double Star. So that's what we'll be doing and talking about. So please join the Diversity Shoots. Go to diversityshoot.com, join our Patreon page, or you can donate with GoFundMe, where we have a Second is for Everyone GoFundMe. We also have Patreon, GoFundMe, PayPal. We have all the ways to help us out on diversityshoot.com. What's going on with us? The governor still has us in limbo. So until that changes, and then we figure out how we can run stuff, because he's being a real jack. Bro, how's this? You have a range. You have an outdoor range. It holds, let's say, 300 people. He's only allowing 10 people at a time to come to the range. An outdoor range.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Because he hates us. He hates guns. And the largest outdoor range, or one of the larger outdoor ranges, is actually an NRA, the state NRA chapter. And then one of the largest indoor range is Anthony Calandro, an NRA director. So he hates us. What the freaking frack?
It's got to be Rob. Rob, is that you?
Yeah, it's me.
Rob's got a
Chad,
cockatoo in the house.
thank you. I love you too.
I've got a cockatoo in the house. All right, so hey, that's it. And if you don't know what we do at the Second is for Everyone, what we do is introduce people to firearms. Regardless of their background, their race, their gender, their sexual orientation. The whole thing is about introducing people to their Second Amendment civil right. And we do that throughout Jersey, and hopefully in 21 now, we'll be spreading in New York and PA.
Awesome. So, as you all know, send questions, comments, or feedback to gungearreview@gmail.com. That includes questions for the Q&A show. Go pledge your support at gunandgearcult.com. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us an iTunes review. I noticed nobody's left us an iTunes review in some time, but who knows?
We'll have to
check
beg.
Check out all the other great shows on the Firearms Radio at firearmsradio.tv. You could also check out some Diversity Shoot podcast or something, whatever it is. We
Shut
don't
up.
care.
I just got this thing from Sean.
Yeah, I saw it too. Except Tony. Be sure to visit the Firearms Insider for reviews. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Firearms Insider. And of course, thank you for listening to the largest pound for pound podcast on the network. And we are out.
Peace. Hey,